Stay dandy, baby.
Team 7 is reborn yet again as Boruto, Kawaki, Sarada, and Mitsuki battle against Boro, a very giant, very angry, very naked man. Hello my friends and welcome to another review of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. I'm going to be talking about a couple of episodes of the series today, but before we begin my review, please subscribe to the channel, like this video if you are enjoying my content, and of course make sure to check out my Patreon page. First-time donators will get an anime review of their choice, as well as just being a pretty badass individual for helping to contribute to this channel. But let's go ahead and move forward with the review. I haven't reviewed the last couple of episodes of Boruto as of late because I've been, well, the fact of the matter is, very busy. I know it's the same old song and dance I do every once in a while where I take a little bit of a break, but I'm glad I took a break here as I got to really enjoy all of these episodes back to back, which basically was the entirety of the battle against Boro himself. The last time I reviewed an episode, it was where Naruto and Sasuke went up against Jigen, and they pretty much got their collective ninja asses spanked, and pretty much Naruto had been captured by Jigen, friggin' Sasuke had been desperately injured, and then we go back to Konoha Village where everybody's sort of reeling with the situation. Shikamaru is just freaking out, he's pissed off, he decides that Kawaki is going to be quarantined, but by the end of the episode, Naruto is still captured, and Boruto and all of his friends come together with Kawaki, and they use some space-time ninjutsu nonsense with the power of their karma, and they actually end up going to this dimension where they are confronted by Boro, and that's where the bulk of both of the latest episodes take place, and honestly, it's some pretty cool stuff. It does have some problems. I'll get to that a little bit more in the rundown, but overall, this entire battle with Boro is really awesome, and what I especially love about it is that every character gets to shine in this battle. This is certainly harkening back to the beginning of the Naruto franchise, where one character simply could not take down a villain by themselves. They had to use the power of teamwork and friendship and whatever the hell you want to call it, but honestly, I think it's one of the best things about the series when these characters can combine all of their abilities to work together, and Boro himself is certainly quite an opponent. At first, he comes across as kind of like the dumb, loud muscle member of Kara, but he's surprisingly intelligent, and he has a number of really cool abilities. The most important of which is his regenerative powers. Now, we've already seen regeneration in the Naruto series, but this guy takes it to like a brand new, like, Cell from Dragon Ball Z level, where basically where large chunks of his body are completely destroyed, whether it be a limb or just like his entire torso, this dude is able to regenerate in just a matter of seconds. And this is all, of course, due to that super scientific technology which has been developed by the Kara organization. Now, there, of course, is a secret to his regenerative abilities, and that is sort of like what leads us to the finale of the latest episode of the series. But the fact of the matter is this guy can just tank hits like nobody else. It also is really dangerous because he's incredibly powerful himself. He can just like pretty much just tank through everybody's abilities. Not only that, but he actually utilizes a lot of unique ninjutsu abilities as well. Like he's able to use this sort of like lava style where he's able to summon like acid from his body and even from the ground itself, which makes him incredibly dangerous. But arguably his most dangerous ability is something that isn't even chakra based at all. He actually is able to culminate this like virus which is inside of his body, and this was already teased a couple of episodes ago when they showed how he was controlling his cult, where essentially he's able to create this virus which eats away at people's bodies. It causes them to have paralysis, but he also has the ability to consume this virus himself. So basically this is all a part of his cult plan, where he goes around to these various villages, he infects them with this virus, and then he heals them and becomes their savior. But he's able to use that in battle here. It's this like weird sort of black mist, and both Boruto and Kawaki actually fall prey to this, in their initial battle with him, because of course they just go headlong right at him using all their signature abilities. Kawaki using his transforming body, Boruto using his Rasengan, which we get to learn is actually amplified with not only the power of karma, but when he resonates with Kawaki as well. So that's some pretty big, crucial information right there. But they end up succumbing to the power of this virus, and Mitsuki's able to get in there. And since Mitsuki's like a weird, freaky clone that was created by Orochimaru, and he's been experimented on, and he knows all about these viruses and illnesses and everything, he's actually able to withstand it just a little bit, and he's actually able to use the power of his snakes to bite down on Boro's body, injecting some of his blood into the snake, and then actually creating an antibody within his very own body, which is pretty freaking crazy. He's literally a living human beaker, and he's able to sort of like create this special medication which allows everybody to withstand the actual virus itself. But when Boro figures this out, this is when he realizes that he simply can't rely on that altogether, and he's going to have to rely on basically his brute strength and his regenerative abilities. And that's when all the characters just decide to bring everything they have to the table to try and take this guy down. And what I think is really great here is, again, we have Boruto and Kawaki working together. We have Mitsuki, who's developed these antibodies and still has a lot of really cool techniques themselves. And then you have Sarada, who ends up being sort of voluntold to be the leader of the group by Mitsuki because, of course, she's the smartest member of the team. And, of course, they're continuously to build her up as sort of like the default team leader. I mean, Boruto's the main character of this anime series, but Sarada is really the brains of the operation, so she's able to come up with this really great plan to try and figure out how to take him down. And this is when they realize that Boro, of course, has regenerative abilities, but there is a key to it. He has a core within his body, which actually has to be destroyed to take away these abilities. And that's when Boruto, Kawaki, and Mitsuki just go freaking ham all against him, bringing out all of their biggest attacks, pulling out all the stops to try and take this guy down. This is where we get to see Boro go through something of a transformation, but not really. Basically, he just ditches all of his clothes, and thank God there are no dangly parts here. Basically, you get to see that his entire body has been modified to the point where he's practically not even human anymore, but he has the ability to regenerate in a lot of really crazy ways. And while Boruto and all the other boys are fighting against him, Sarada decides that she's going to bring out the Chidori technique. Now, this is really cool because in the manga version, it did just sort of happen, but here we get to see that they've actually had a nice amount of build-up to actually utilizing this technique with the training sequences with Sasuke, so we get to see all of that come to fruition here, and I dare say that this is one of the coolest Sarada moments of the entire series thus far, if only for the fact that it was animated really well, but it was a great arc for her character of showing how far she's come in her training, and just the moment where she used the Chidori technique on Boro and ripped the core from his body was nothing short of awesome. And again, it was done with really great teamwork with all of the characters. It recalls a lot of the classic moments of the series. Like, I really loved back in the day in like the first couple arcs of the series where Naruto and Sasuke would work together. I'm definitely getting vibes from that in the most recent episode right here, where Sarada is able to utilize the diversion that was created by Boruto to just slam her Chidori right through this guy's body, ripping out the core and crushing it in her hands. Hands down, that was just a badass Sarada moment, and I really loved it. And then suddenly Boro starts going insane and transforming into this giant Akira Tetsuo monster. His body starts blowing up and going out of control as he destroys everything around them. And at the worst time possible, because believe it or not, Boruto and Kawaki are able to use the power of their karma to like create a space-time portal to pull Naruto out of like that weird pot thing. But then Boro starts like crushing Mitsuki and going crazy. And this is where we get the big stinger part of the episode. Not only did all the other characters get to do something awesome, but Boruto goes through a transformation himself where it looks like Momoshiki has finally started to take over his body and is actually manifesting physically within him, where you can see like that Momoshiki horn coming out of his head, the karma stripes are all over his face, and it looks like Momoshiki has kind of taken over at this point, and it all ends with Boruto being controlled by him as he's floating around in the air, looking all super creepy, and it's just awesome. These episodes right here are all a lot of fun. It's a really solid battle, and it's great to see all of Team 7 again battling against another member of Kara. I wouldn't say it's as exciting as some of the other previous episodes that we've seen, like say maybe when they battled against Deepa, or maybe the big battle that Kawaki had with Garo, or it definitely pales to Naruto and Sasuke fighting Jigen, but it certainly has its moments. Let's talk about that a little bit more in the rundown of this episode of Boruto. So I really loved the action in a lot of these episodes, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that there were just some moments in some of these episodes that straight up just looked bad. And it's weird because there are moments in these episodes that look really fantastic, but you know, in between a lot of these great moments are just some other moments that just, it seems like they got a little lazy in terms of the animation, the speed, just some of the awkwardness in the look of some of the characters. I don't know. It was a mixed bag kind of fight in many ways. But there were still enough awesome moments here to get me really excited about this battle. But I really wish they would have, brought a little bit more of that A game to this fight. And that really seems to be sort of like my comment for a lot of these big action episodes of Boruto. I wish that they would bring their A games to every major fight in the series. I'm not saying like the little training sequences or stuff like that. I'm talking about like the big major battles that have huge consequences for the series. They should always bring their A game to these episodes. And here I think they brought their B game, maybe even a little bit of C. Like I said, it was a weird combination of like really awesome moments, like that Sarada Chidori moment I thought was really great. There were a few moments with Boro after he went through his crazy naked body transformation where he's battling against everybody, where things looked really slick. And then there are just these weird moments, these wide shots, which look really stilted, and the characters look like they're puppets with freaking sticks up their asses, and they're just moving around in really weird ways. And it takes you out of the experience a little bit. And then like 2 seconds later, they give you a scene that just looks so fucking awesome. You're like, what the hell happened? Who dropped the ball here? What's going on? Why is this team doing bad and this team doing good? And why are they being combined together in a single episode? I don't know. It's just weird. Aside from that, if you're able to get over some of the wonkiness and some of the weird animation choices they actually decide to make in these episodes, there's a lot of entertainment value to be had from this battle. Boro himself, again, I think is a really fantastic villain. I love his design, I love his powers, I love the fact that he doesn't simply rely on jutsu, but he's utilizing like this like sort of man-made virus, which is kind of a big trump card up against ninjas, especially because they establish that the Karma has the unique ability to absorb jutsu, but only if it's like specifically jutsu itself. Like an example that they came up with like is if a ninja used like a chakra based technique that involved water, where they can sort of like manifest water from their body, that can be absorbed, but they can't necessarily absorb just like straight water from like a river or an ocean or the rain itself. It has to be chakra based, and that again is a massive weakness for the Karma. It shows that you know, they don't have to rely on those abilities all the time, and it also shows that Kara realizes this. They know that there is an inherent weakness in chakra based abilities, and that's where the scientific technology kind of comes into play. It's sort of like the ultimate trump to ninja based attacks. They know that they can sort of like one-up that if they utilize the power of natural nature itself and incorporate that into the technology. And again, that makes them very dangerous and very different from some of the other villains that we've actually seen from the franchise thus far. But what I can say is that the battle with Boro, while it didn't exactly blow me away, it still managed to be pretty exciting. And I mean, to say we haven't been getting some exciting battles has been an understatement lately. We've been getting a lot of really cool fights, and they've been really continuous. Like, if it wasn't the Delta and the Jigen fight, and then we're moving on right to Boro here, and I'm honestly shocked that they are moving this fast. I thought they were going to come up with some sort of brand new arc for Boro, especially because they took the time to sort of like build up his cult and all these other brand new side characters, and they very well could come into play at another point in the future, because we are getting so close to where they are in the manga at this point. I mean, there are some major events that are coming out that I have a feeling they're either going to space out or stretch out in the anime version, but we're getting there. Like, we are catching up so damn fast. So I'm really surprised that they've actually been making those decisions here, especially because, like I said, they took the time to build up Boro and his cult, and I still kind of hope that that's going to have some sort of place in the future, because I do want to learn a little bit more about that, and I love when they can expand on characters a little bit more. But as it stands, this is pretty much a straight adaptation of everything that's been going on in the manga for the last couple of episodes, and in that sense, it is good. It's definitely some of the best story that you'll see from Boruto thus far, and again, it proves that the Kara themselves are really interesting and super fun and resourceful villains, very different than anything that we've seen before in the series, especially when compared to, say, Orochimaru and the Akatsuki. Just the fact that they're all like cyborg technology, like infused type of characters, immediately makes them a lot of fun. And Boro was a really great opponent, and it was awesome that we got to see Team 7 come together again to work together and utilize their abilities. That's what made this episode for me the awesome combination and teamwork of all the characters. So, like I said, some of these episodes have some problems. They're not perfect. The action does not always look amazing, but I still got a lot of entertainment value from all of these episodes. So for that reason alone, I'm going to give probably all of them a 4 out of 5. They were not perfect, but they certainly had a lot of moments that got me really excited, and some things that looked really good. Some of the fighting choreography was great. Boro is a really great, scary, super powerful, and resourceful villain. Sarada, I really believe, is the MVP of all of these episodes. I thought she was great. That Chidori moment was just awesome. Her crushing the core that she ripped out of Boro was just freaking epic as hell. Mitsuki was incredibly awesome in this episode as well, not only for the fact that he's a great fighter, but for him to be able to create like the antibodies for that virus. And of course, Boruto and Kawaki still continuing to team up with one another, learning more stuff about their Kara, its strengths, its weaknesses. These episodes were pretty good. in terms of everything that they gave us. But again, it certainly had its bad moments. So those are my thoughts about the episode. Yours may differ. I think I was a little easy on these episodes because, again, I am a fan of the franchise, and there are things that I really liked about it. But you might have liked them more. You might have hated these episodes for some of the decisions that they actually made in terms of the animation. But I'd love to get all of your thoughts about it, and you can sound off in the comment section below telling me what you thought about the latest batch of episodes of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. There's also a brand new intro, which I'm going to have to watch a few more times before I give my final thoughts on it, but so far I can honestly say I like it. There are definitely some spoilery moments in here, but they managed to keep them kind of shadowy, so I think that's actually kind of cool. And it also insinuates that things are just going to keep moving forward and going crazy in this manga storyline with no signs of stopping. And in some senses, I'm glad to see that. In other senses, I know that this is a sign of a lot of filler to come, especially if they catch up to all of this stuff so soon, but we're just going to have to wait. For what we got right now, though, I'm actually enjoying the series. So, like I said, let's talk all about it in the comment section below. Like you said, if you like the episode, if you didn't like the episode, your favorite moments and what you hope for the future of the franchise. There it is, guys. Thank you for watching this review. I'll see you all next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.